of the Safi Burhani Upliftment Trust.
Yes.
Abdi Ali Bhanapurwala Sahab,
Exactly, yes.
Secretary of the Trust, and Adil Zainul Bhai, a trustee on SBUT and a prominent member of the community and a notorious friend of mine and chairman of McKinsey. So, before we get started, you tell us, what is it that makes the Bohris different? Tell us a little bit about the Bohris. We just know you to be very rich people, very enterprising people. We know you are found everywhere, and we know that everybody loves you.
But we are popularly known as a very humble people, and we are very loyal. And the basic thing which we are asked, what makes us a difference? Make us a difference, and because we follow one leader, His Holiness Dr. Sayyidina Muhammad Burhanuddin. And we always follow him, and we are needed community, worldwide community. We are nearly 1 million people all over the world, and we are on the one platform. Whatever Sayyidina says, we follow. Right. That is our motto.
And we right now stand in front of the Roza of the Sayyidina, Roza Tahira, which I would loosely translate as Mazar of the Pure, right? And this is the Mazar of the Sayyidina's late father.
Sayyidina Tahir Saifuddin.
Yes. And it's the holiest place for the community.
And this is the one, let me tell you something about the Roza Tahira. This is the only place in the entire Islamic world where all Quran is inscribed in the golden letter and all four walls of the Roza. Right. This is the only place in the world.
Right.
And on our left side is a Safi Masjid. Right. Which was built by His Holiness Dr. Sayyidina Tahir Saifuddin. It's an architectural marvel.
Right.
So we are walking between the Roza Tahira and Safi Masjid. Is one of the most pious places in the Mumbai.
And I think we got good timing because we started with the azan.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Right. Yeah.
So Abbas Sahab, you are a qualified engineer. I know that you've done projects for big companies around the world. Tell us about what you're doing. I believe you're going to build a whole range of towers here. This will become a completely different place and transform. And I think the only inner city development of its kind in India. That's what gets people like us so excited about this. But tell us about this, what you're going to
do. I've worked all over the world on very large projects. But this project is so complex and so difficult, and one of its kind that is being attempted not only in the city of Mumbai, but maybe all of India. And what makes it challenging is that we are working within the inner city where there are 250 buildings and there are 3,200 families living here. And there are 1,250 businesses that you see around here which are thriving. And we have to work within this environment. What we plan to do is that we plan to bring all of these 250 dilapidated structures, which Mahada, which is a housing board, have classified almost 80% of the buildings as dilapidated and dangerous to live in. So we plan to bring all these things down. Prior to doing that, we move people to transit.
New transit
accommodation that we have already constructed. And almost 1,200 families have moved from this area already.
And what will this place look like after you are done in about 10 years?
What it will look like is some of Bindi Bazaar that exists today. You will see the flavor of it, the culture of it that we want to maintain. But at the same time, it will be well planned city where you have proper roads, you have footpaths to walk on, you have parking.
These are the Sayyidnas.
That's right. That's the Sayyidna and his heir apparent.
Right. The late Sayyidna, Sayyidina Tahir Saifuddin. In the middle is the current Sayyidina Muhammad Burhanuddin. And the designate, the heir apparent, Sayyidina Mufaddal Bhai Saifuddin.
And your chairman now is one of his sons.
One of his eldest
who we just met.
His eldest son, Shehzada Kaijur Bhai Saifuddin. He's the chairman of this trust.
Of SBUT.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what we plan to do is to plan in such a way that we meet all the requirements of providing a good residential tenancies for people that live. Currently they live in maybe 100 to 200 square feet. Each one of them will get 350 square feet carpet area.
This is a glorified slum, isn't it, right now?
Right now it is worse than a slum, because the way that people live in, the way conditions of each of the buildings where people live in.
Yes, we've seen those little house gullies where people throw garbage. I think we'll pass by.
Absolutely. But if you go inside any of the buildings, you would see props in the middle of the rooms. and small children sleeping underneath where the concrete and the plaster is falling on them. That's the kind of environment people are living in today.
And Adil, that's a real shame for a community that's so entrepreneurial and generally quite prosperous.
I think that's exactly right, and in fact the project began when His Holiness said that the standard that people are living in is not appropriate for a community like us, and how can they live correct lives unless they're at least comfortable. And so it was his vision to take something which most people would have considered impossible to do and say we will do it. And there are so many impossible things that the Bohris accomplish around the world under his divine guidance, in a sense, right? That we all took it as an act of faith that it is possible.
Right.
And when we described the original project, which is an upliftment trust, right? It is not a development, it is an upliftment trust.
In fact, that's very interesting for me, because it's the first redevelopment program which is not called redevelopment, it's not called rehabilitation, it's called upliftment.
Right. We want to uplift the standard of living of everyone who lives here and everyone who works here, and to make the place, which has one of the holiest shrines in among the Bohris, to be something that is spectacular. And that's why it's called the Upliftment Trust. Nobody is making money from it. It is a charitable trust. And the idea is not just to give the minimum to people that is required under a rehabilitation section 33
right.
7,
right.
section 33.9, but to give them more, right? So that's what we're trying to do. And the reason that it can be done, in a sense, as I said, for something this big has never been attempted, but we think it can be done. I think as when we started it, I think somebody said that there are 15 impossible things about doing this. And they were right, and so nobody would take it on. But in fact, I think today we have conquered 12 of the impossible things.
Right.
There's 3 more impossible things to do. But if you have done 12 impossible things,
right,
maybe 3 is not so bad.
So 80% is done.
Well, whatever percent you want. But it is, I just want to stress that it is a very difficult project to do.
Right.
We can understand why cluster development is difficult as we've gone through it. The reason it worked in this case is it's the Sayyadna. Everyone follows the Sayyadna. So if he says we want to do it, we will do it. And all the other communities who live in this area, because it's not just Bohris, it's other communities, have all been very supportive of doing something like this. And so this is something that's supported by all of them.
Because you're not doing it just for the Bohris who live there.
Exactly, yeah. It is when Sayyadna conceived this project, and when the first presentation was done before the Sayyadna, his primary and first question was this: okay, tell me what will you do for the entire community who are staying in the Bhindi Bazar, not only for Bohras. Everybody should be treated equally. If you are giving 350 to the 350 square feet house to the Bohris, you should give it to the Muslims also, and whoever stays in this area, everybody should be treated equally.
See, that's why this project is so important, because if you can get this right, and frankly, if you go up and as we try to do and look around, the first thought that comes to your mind is that if you can transform this place, then you can transform anything in India. So this is something that will then set the standard for inner city development in the rest of the country. I hope, Abbas Saab, the weight of responsibility on your shoulders.
Just to support what you're saying, this being the most critical aspect of the planning, we got some of the best master planners around the world to compete on this project.
Right.
And they walked the streets over here, when we started, and we had a competition for that, and we selected one of the best master planners from India as well as one from abroad. And both together, we are trying to do the best we can.
To walk these streets, you need sort of hockey goalkeeper's pads and a crash helmet, because they're always dodging something or the other.
And after seeing your walk the tour show, I think people will come and start walking here.
But I hope you make some part of this area fully pedestrianized.
Yes, we are. I think
in fact, we are planning that
like this,
all our roads would be at least 15 meter wide.
Right.
And we plan to have certain sections of the road which are all pedestrian, so that the kind of the environment that is
Shekhar,
there
just on that, what I would say is, what we did is we didn't bring in master planners, but we brought in people who are psychologists and sociologists and observers of street life. And they came and spent a lot of time here, and they observed what's happening. And they said one of the wonderful things about this, forget the buildings, is the fact that everyone's involved in the street life here. And people from outside Bhindi Bazar come here in the evenings and at nights, and a lot of Bohris from around the world come here. So, we should keep that interactivity. And rather than us trying to design that, we got all these sociologists, urban planners and others to model out what they wanted. And they spent a lot of time here to try and ensure that they could design something that not only fulfills all the other requirements, but also keeps the character of the place.
So you will not sort of gentrify Bohri culture out of here?
Not at all.
Bohri way
In
of
fact,
life
we would
out of
expect that more people will visit.
And we will
because it'll be
enhance
much
our
nicer to visit.
And definitely not the food.
No, the food will be.
And economically,
remain.
you know, what it is today, people hesitate to come here because there is no parking over here, there is no easy access to here. What will happen after development is a significant amount of interest will come in, and the business that are here currently will significantly prosper.
So you heard about what I said to Adil just now. I hope you'll take care of food. So all the rest of us can come out.
There's no question
listen,
about it.
all
We will
around
not
the world,
succeed without it.
You know, the Bohris are not only well off, but they like their food.
Right.
And all over the world, Bohri food is well known, and
Absolutely,
we pay a lot of attention to it. So I'm sure there will be a very large number and more restaurants, etc.
Eating
that will
places.
cater to
But that's
Bohri.
part of your plan.
That's part of the plan, that basically whoever is here will continue to be here.
The street life is part of your plan. That's important.
We want to retain the flavor of Bindi Bazaar.
Right. And because it was a Sayyidna saying this, and because the majority of the people living are his followers, everybody immediately believed that promise.
This is a faith is working up behind this project.
Because it's about 3,500, 4,000 crore project?
Maybe, yeah. And,
Larger.
and he rightly says, this is not an easy project. It's a very, very complex and very difficult project. But the vision of His Holiness and his blessings and people's faith in Sayyidna is making this project success.
Adil, tell us something about the complexities of this project.
Well, you know,
I mean, you have to create a new city from the womb of a very old
correct. So,
decrepit city.
you know, if it was empty space, it would be one thing.
Very easy.
But it isn't. But there's 250 buildings that are owned by lots of different
That's
people.
called Hiranandani.
Correct. But you know, we had to, first of all, there are lots of religious mosques and other things here. There are schools, there are municipal buildings, there are lots of dilapidated buildings whose ownership is unclear. Many of them are old rental buildings. So first we had to actually figure out how to buy all of these at some way, shape or form, which is difficult. Then we had to convince each of the people who are there that we are going to move them, we will look after them, and that we will give them something back when they come back that is substantially
and something better.
Much better. So I think all of that takes time. So that's one problem. Second problem is, you know, we are the entire, if you look at the 14 acres, the roads will change. Because to make it work, we had to change the way the roads are done. And all of that requires a lot of help from the government, a lot of help from the municipal corporation.
And shifting of underground facilities.
No, we are going to have to rebuild all the underground facilities, right? So we will rebuild all of the sewers, all of the water, all of the electricity, etc. Right? So what happened is, when you're trying to design all of that, you are doing so many things simultaneously. It requires lots of approvals, it requires lots of people to come together, and that's the complexity. Nobody's ever done anything of that magnitude before. And you know, the good news is that a majority of the people are for it, and we've got lots of support from the people who live here and from the owners, and we've got a lot of support from the government. Because the government also wants the city to be better. And if this demonstration project can work, then that gives hope to lots of other areas, right? So even the government is trying to be helpful. But of course, you know, when you're doing such a big project, there's 1,000 laws that, you know, apply to you. So it's not that people are not trying to be helpful, but you have to work through.
Since you are a trust and not builders, it's tough to just nonchalantly break them.
No, we don't break the laws. We're doing everything 100% right. And it is, as you said, it's a charitable trust, and the community itself is raising the money to do it.
So when do we see work starting now? I know that you've begun some demolitions.
Yeah, Sayyidna has already done the foundation ceremony, and actually you can say a project work has been started, because more than I think how many buildings, 170 buildings. So we already certification has been done. Nearly 20 buildings have been demolished till first floor, and all the plans are in final stages. So we are hopeful that by the end of this year, or maybe first quarter of the next year, we'll start construction.
And Adil talked about 12 impossibilities which have been overcome, and 3 that remain. Which are the 3 that remain?
Some of the ones that remain are obviously, some of them we don't know yet what they are because they keep coming every day. But the critical part is how to take care of all the people that are here coming.
Because a few have still not have embraced the idea yet.
Right. The thing is, commercial has been a very challenging thing. But
Right.
what we are doing is like we have done.
So what happens to all these shopkeepers?
So what we have done for transit residents, same thing we are building a transit for commercial, very close from here, a kilometer from here. So we are providing them alternatives as to where they can go as well as rentals are there. So one is, obviously that. The second one is government are very, very keen on helping. And the example of that is MHADA, for example. They have certified, they put the entire force on this project. And
MHADA, please expand that for non-Bombay walas.
Okay, MHADA is Maharashtra Housing
and Development
Authority, right? And they have, put the entire forces to survey each and every tenant in terms of who are the legitimate tenants to do that. So that, is
They have
what
provided
we...
also this transit flats also.
Right. Now what we need really is that should come to fruition as fast as possible. And that's where we need a little bit of help from government to make it faster.
Right.
The objective is there, it's just the speed that is required.
But I believe the Sayadna's vision was that this whole community should develop in a way, metaphorically, in the sort of shelter of the Roza, of the Mazar, isn't it? Not literally, but generally.
Yeah.
I believe most of your women have always been literate.
Girl child education is in the high 90s.
High 90s, yes. Which is quite remarkable.
Since so long, since years.
That's why I say if there's any community that can do it, this miracle of sort of transforming an Indian inner city, it's the Boris. So all of us depend on you. You get it right, we'll try to do something in Chandni Chowk after that. So we come to the terrace of your trust building, and that gives us a bird's eye view of the challenge. So in fact, if you look around here, the heart of Bhindi Bazaar, I think we can see the Roza Tahira.
Yeah, it's the Roza Tahira.
The Mazar which you have covered for protection now.
Right, exactly. And that is Safi Masjid.
And that's the mosque
with 2
where we started
minutes.
walking.
With 2 minutes, yeah.
Right.
That's Safi Masjid with 2 minutes, yeah.
Right.
And you can see the entire patch of this from Kolaba, Navinagar to Marine Lines, Marine Drive, Chapati.
And this Bombay's long flyover here.
And this is a JJ flyover, Ibrahim Rahmatullah Road. Yeah.
And you see the docks on that side.
Docks on this side, right,
docks in
exactly.
front and Marine Drive this side. So this
and
was...
you can see Safi Hospital also.
Right.
In between these two buildings,
Right.
you can see Safi Hospital.
With sort of distinctive architecture.
Exactly,
What do you call it?
yeah. Fatimid architecture.
Fatimid architecture. And where does it come from?
It's come from Cairo, Egypt. It was during the Fatimid era in Cairo, Egypt. So all the mosque and all the buildings were built during this era is called Fatimid architecture. And you will see it will reflect in most of the community buildings here in India or anywhere in the world.
And Abbas Sahab, Fatimid architecture is very much a Bori watermark, isn't it?
Yes. And we plan to integrate that in some form in our architectural design of buildings also.
In your redevelopment as well.
Things.
Yeah. So if you look at some of the mosques that have been built, if you look at the Roza, and if you look at the entrances that will be there to the whole area, right? So there'll be little gates and there'll be little minarets and little arches. All of those will reflect the Fatimid architectural elements.
Right.
Obviously, we're trying to do this in a very modern way.
Right.
But it will be very distinctive. So if you look at Safi Masjid today, Safi Hospital, which is on Marine Lines and has changed the skyline of Bombay. It is very much Fatimid architecture.
And it's so beautifully lit at night. In fact, it's the most visible Bombay landmark now at night.
That's right. So that is Fatimid architecture at the top. The domes, the arches, all of those flourishes are Fatimid architecture. And when this whole thing is done, and as you'll see in the model, there will be, it will all come together architecturally with those touches, in addition to everything else. And that was one of the things that Sayadna also wanted. He wanted a very distinctive look that is very Bohri.
And if this works out, Abbas Sahab, since you are a builder, not builder in the sense of a builder developer, but somebody who's building projects, if this works out, this will be true to the Sayyidina's vision of sort of metaphorically having all this come up for want of a better word in the Chhatra Chhaya of the Roza of the Mazar, isn't it?
I'll say not if it comes up, it will come up.
Right.
And it will come up in the Chhatra Chhaya of Roza. Yes.
And then it doesn't matter what community people come from who live in that Chhatra Chhaya.
That's right, that's right. All the people who are living here currently in the boundaries that we have of our development, they all will have the same facilities, same things.
I think the only thing I would add is, it's not just the people who are living here, right? This has interest not just from people around India because you can do something to rebuild a city, but this is interest from Bohris and people from around the world. So a large number of Bohris want to have, in a sense, a second apartment in the Chhaya of the Roza, which they would never be able to have. But when we put up this development and we put up the for sale towers, then they will get a chance to do that. And they view it not as a real estate investment, but that they are getting a chance to live in Sayyidina's project.
So a little promised land for the Bohris, isn't it?
You can say. But one more thing I'm adding to Mr. Adil Zainul, that when Sayyidina performs was during Muharram or any major festivals of Dawoodi Bohras being celebrated in Bandi Bazaar, the people from the all over world comes here. Nearly you can say almost more than sometime 1 lakh, 2 lakhs. So it is always they want to stay in this area, but it's not possible for them.
Right.
So they are keenly looking forward to this project also.
Yes. And once you build this tower, so give us a picture, how many towers will be there and in this place?
We plan to have 9 clusters.
Right.
Each cluster is going to have 2 towers each. So overall we'll have around 17 towers. Yes. That will come up here.
And some rising really high.
Some rising really high, maybe around 65 plus in certain areas.
Right.
But just to add to that, interest is not only from Bohris around the world, but all the architects, master planners around the world.
Right.
They are looking at this project and they come and visit us, say how things are happening, what it is, because they think it's one of the most unique projects in the world,
because
in a democratic world.
If you see the state of these buildings, I think most of them look like they'll collapse any time. Right.
In fact, in this monsoon, 2 of them partly collapsed.
I see.
In front of us.
And because why two? Because most of the building we have repaired. because otherwise it will collapse. People are staying there.
I think that's why I think you Bohris have to get it right now, because of all the rest of us living in other big cities are watching you. Because once you get it right, I think this will set a standard. And this will sort of raise the bar for inner city development all over India.
And thank you very much. But really what is the partnership between government, between ourselves and the people who are living here, that they really have to come together, and they have come together on this project to make it a success.
So all the best to you, Abbas.
Thank you very much.
Most difficult and I would say the most fascinating project for anybody to handle.
Thank you. We need your prayers and your support.
Adil, wonderful of you to find time. I know that your time is charged for by the minute.
For the community, it's free.
In the dollar, which is getting more and more expensive now. So thank you.
For the community, it's free.
Thank you very much for finding the time. And Abdi Ali Saab,
thank you very much.
Chatting with you.
Thank you very much.